So one of my favorite channels to watch on YouTube is Hamilton Outdoors. I really enjoy watching Rob, his perspectives, and also the firearms that he obtains and him enjoying shooting them. And lately I've been waiting for Hamilton Outdoors to post some videos, but he hasn't been, and I've been a little bit sad about that, wondering where they're at. And then I learned that he's been sick, and so I felt a little bit selfish that I've been sitting here waiting for him to put out a new video, and then here he's been sick and under the weather. So I decided that I should make this little video to show him something that he inspired me to do, and maybe it'll give him a little bit of entertainment while he's trying to feel better, which from what I hear he's on the mend, so that's good. So about a year ago I was given this Ruger Wrangler as a gift, and I've loved shooting this, going out and enjoying it, and target shooting as well as carrying it around in the woods. I loved it so much that I got these rosewood grips to go on it to kind of dress it up a little bit and actually make it look similar to a Super Blackhawk that and I acquired this hunter holster, and I had to adapt it a little bit for my needs. So it comes with the strap that comes out the back and over and covers the trigger guard, but where I walk through brush, I wanted to make the strap come over the front to cover the hammer to keep it from getting cocked back while I'm walking. So I adapted that, and it makes quite a nice little package, and I've really enjoyed it. And about a year ago I was watching some of Hamilton Outdoors videos on the Ruger Wrangler, and he put out a video where he was asking Ruger to make a Wrangler with the Birdshead grip to compete with or be similar to the Heritage Rough Rider, which is a very enjoyable firearm as well. And that got me to thinking it'd be fun to have one of those, but there currently weren't any on the market. So about May of last year I decided I was going to put one together and see if I could figure out how to do it on my own. And I learned that you can acquire Birdshead grip frames from Ruger and through other companies that will fit on the Wrangler. And so I went about finding one, and I actually went through a couple iterations. The first one I was able to find was actually through Powers Customs, and it's a grip frame that is designed to be a plow handle shape, the traditional revolver handle shape, but that it has a line that'll guide you through converting it into a bird's head. And so because there were no actual Ruger bird's head grips available at that time, I went ahead and purchased that one. What I got in the mail wasn't what I thought I was going to get, and it was a little bit more of a challenge to convert it to a bird's head grip than it looked on paper. So the one that I received didn't have the guide or the shape of the bird's head in it. But we went ahead and found some grips. We traced the shape on, my buddy and I, and we cut the grip frame out to the shape of those grips. And it worked well. I mounted that onto the pistol, and it actually functioned and shot very well. The one thing about it was that it required me, so typically with the Ruger grip frame you can just go ahead and go straight to putting on Ruger Vaquero sized or single 6 bird head size grips, and with this one you couldn't. I had to trim off about 1/8 of an inch, so it's 1/8 of an inch shorter, which makes it fit your hand really well. But I still wasn't quite happy with it because it wasn't perfect, and so I got to looking again, and I found a Ruger grip frame. And here's the end product here. I'll go ahead and show that to you. And the Ruger grip frame fit straight onto the Wrangler as well as the stock handles. There was no modification needed. So that went ahead and solved that problem for us. And then my buddy and I, we went ahead and trimmed down this barrel with a grinder. It's what I had access to at the time. I'd recommend using some kind of a chop saw or a band saw to help make sure you get a good 90-degree angle if you're going to try anything like this, but now you don't have to, so that's fortunate. But we went ahead and cut the barrel down using a grinder, and then we had to do some file work to cut And we cut this piece down to match on the length, but then it has kind of an indentation where it fits into the grip frame here, and we had to do some hand file work, and that was actually really fun to get it to match up in there, and it turned out really nice compared to what I thought I was going to end up with. And then I went and had the friend of mine who does custom Cerakote it for me. Now, what's funny about this process was I was really excited as I was going through this process of making this custom Birdshead Wrangler that I was going to be able to post a video and show Rob, hey, look what I made, hey, look what you inspired me to do. But then literally the day before I was getting my parts back from my buddy that did the Cerakote, I thought, you know, I should just get online and do a search on Ruger Birdshead to see if anyone else has done this. And what do you know, that was the day that Ruger released they were going to start selling this as a factory option. And so I was a little disappointed that they stole my thunder, but I kind of knew throughout the whole year that it was probably going to happen like that. One, because it's my luck, but two, it's a really smart move on their part because everyone wants one. So, but it was fun because I ended up with this cool little custom Ruger Wrangler Birdshead, and it's a little bit different than what you'll get from the factory. I haven't been able to compare it side by side with the factory one yet, and I don't know if I ever will. But it's kind of fun because other people get to enjoy them now too, but I have one of my own that has kind of a fun story. So I want to show you a little bit more close up on this and show you some of the things that we had to do to make things work. And so because this was a custom job and it was done by a knucklehead like me, it's not perfect. It definitely isn't perfect, and I'm not trying to say it's show quality, but it works, it functions, and I really enjoy it. And I learned a lot along the way. So here it is side by side with my first Ruger Wrangler. This started life as a full-size Wrangler just like this, and it was a silver Cerakote version. And I picked it up for $179 and felt like it was a good candidate for this job because I didn't really like that silver Cerakote look, so knowing that I was going to cut it up and then have to re-Cerakote it, I didn't feel bad about changing it like that. So my barrel length ended up being 3 1/8 inches long. I believe the factory Birdshead Wrangler comes with 3 3/4 inch, so my barrel is actually a little bit shorter than what the factory options are. And because of that, I actually ran into some interesting issues with my ejector rod and trying to get my cylinder pin to come in and out to make it so I could take the cylinder out and maintain the pistol. So now, first off, you'll notice that I did not do a perfect job in all of my work here. I've got a few little scratches, dings, and dents. When you get these grip frames, you actually have to file them and shave them down to the right width, and in doing so I nicked this one a little bit, and I should have done a little bit more finish work. I was naive and thought that Cerakote would cover that up, and of course it does not. So one of the things I had to do to work with this shortened barrel and trying to make the ejector rod work, I thought it would work to cut this notch in. So I cut this notch into the extractor rod housing so that I could lift it up and out of the way. And doing that would then allow me to take this pin out and be able to maintain the pistol. So I know that doesn't look the greatest, but it is functional and it works. What I found out later on is that most pistols that have short barrels like this, what they do is they have half moon shapes there on the little piece that you push with your finger for the extractor rod. So I went ahead and shaved this down. Having known that first, I wouldn't have cut that little notch in there, but you know, I didn't know that, so it's kind of how iterations work when you're making test models. But anyway, so I've got that to where it will go up and out of the way, but then also it is shaved down so that the extractor rod can go past it. And the reason I ended up doing both was because after cutting this, I still had the issue of when I was trying to extract a round out of the cylinder, that this would only come down to here and bump into the cylinder pin. So I went ahead and shaved that so that this can now go past the cylinder pin down and be long enough to actually extract a shell casing out the back of the cylinder, so I don't have to dig it out with my fingers. So all in all, there's just those few little custom touches that we had to do. Also, we had to re-weld the front sight post back on, and I am not an expert welder. My buddy is a good welder, but unfortunately we didn't have all the equipment necessary at our disposal, so it ended up being kind of a hack job, which is normal for what I can do as far as welding. And I do have a little bit of a nick there at the edge of the barrel too from trying to file down and smooth it out. But anyway, this color for the Cerakote ended up being a cobalt. I was hoping for a cobalt blue, but this one is not a blue. It actually is a little bit greenish, which is fine. It looks good, and it's a unique color no one else has. And these grips are a custom grip that are actually, they were marketed for Ruger Vaquero, made by a small company, sold on Etsy, and they fit great. They look awesome, good little color to them, and nice shape. They're good and round, so they're a little bit thicker than what the factory Ruger Birdshead would have as far as grips, but that makes it for a good solid purchase, which is also something I've enjoyed with my other Ruger here, that these aftermarket grip panels that I have installed are thicker than the plastic ones that come with the handgun at first, and so they give for a really good, make for a really good purchase on the handgun, which is really nice. So I just wanted to say thank you to Rob from Hamilton Outdoors for inspiring me to work on this little project. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot of things going through this process. It was a great experience, and he inspired it. I wanted to let him know that he's appreciated in this community, that we learn a lot from him. There's a lot of nobodies out there just like me that learn a lot from him. We're entertained by him, and we're inspired by him. So thank you.